Boom shakalaka.
Woo-woo.
All
right. So today.
No, we haven't even done an introduction.
Okay.
You just completely it from the jump.
Rude.
I think it's rude. So many times it's so
have you?
not sincerely, just like like so rude.
Yeah. No. Like, but Parks and Recreation, the guy that is straight to jail, and he's like, if somebody litters in our town, straight to jail, and he's from like another country, a made up country, but he has like this accent, and it's like
you either like Parks and Rec or you like The Office.
I'm not a big fan of The Office. I love
Parks and
The Office. I don't like the long.
The Office is, I will argue, that it should be in the running for the greatest TV show ever created.
No. Yeah, I love the clips. I think The Office has lots of fun.
Not even in its genre. I'm talking about in general.
No, it has funny.
Just straight up sneezed all over my legs, and it was kind of gross. It just got misted.
Because he said, he agrees with me. It is, I do think it's a funny show, and I love watching their clips. But if you watch the whole show, I'm like, it's too whatever. Now, their Parks and Recreation, there are definitely some dumb stuff. The things that I like about Parks and Recreation, though, is usually, like I've watched the whole series. And some of it is the clip. I love Ron Swanson when he goes to because I think he reminds me of Avery, but like when he goes to the park and he's like, don't worry, I have a permit. And they're like, they hands them and they're like, it's just a piece of paper that says I can do what I want. And, so they're same thing. It's just, there's definitely, I wouldn't say that I would think Parks and Recreation is like the greatest show of all time. And there's some really fun parts that stand out for me.
Yeah. All right.
I still love Asian Jim.
Very
on The Office.
Yeah, that was funny.
That's awesome.
That was funny for a minute. Let's go back into this. Welcome to Let's Go Podcast. Yeah. Today we are going to be a little more structured, not a lot of it, but a little bit. And we'll go back into my 50-cent session. Not a lot, baby girl, just a little bit. We will not say the rest of those words.
That's right. That definitely, that tells our age.
What, that we love 50 Cent?
Yeah.
I was in 7th grade science class. The first time I ever heard In the Club.
In the Club.
Yeah. Anyway, that dude was legit. It was legit.
Yeah. And I still like when you watch clips of him and things that he shares and talks about, he's quite humorous. Like, he could be a stand-up comedian, I think.
And his life is pretty extraordinary. That dude went from straight gangster to straight businessman. And he is a diehard hustler. Actually, he has made it from the hood to the office.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I read that article because, he's investing massively in Shreveport right now.
I didn't know that.
He is, I did not read the entire article. It could be just whatever. But they said he's the second largest landowner in Shreveport now.
Really?
Or something like that.
He owns a lot of land. We'll say.
Well, I know he bought a lot of commercial buildings. So it may be commercial building owner.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Or something.
I don't know if it's like square footage, whatever. Anyway, but today, guys, we are going to talk about something that's super important. If you are a business owner, if you're a salesperson, if you do anything that has to do with relationships and people, this is probably the most important topic that you will ever learn.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Are you ready for it?
Lay it on them.
The power of database.
That's right.
Hey, that's sexy. I don't even know how sexy it is. We're going to talk about how sexy that is. I have some real life examples. It's actually, the reason we're talking about this is, we do a big pie event every year in the real estate company.
Giving away at least
2,500 pies.
Well, and the interesting thing, so I'll interrupt you here. So what I always think is incredible. So most agents that do a pie giveaway, they have people come to the office and they do a drive-through, which I think is incredible and I love it. And you guys, y'all are like crazy. Y'all divide up
warfare.
Yeah, they are going out and driving to gazillions of houses because y'all are
we're even delivering all the way to Shreveport.
Yeah, so y'all getting in your, you've got the whole, somebody's printing off the list. This is your driving, and the agents, everybody's going out and delivering those pies to those people's houses to say, hey, we appreciate you.
Yeah. Or pulling hit and runs for the ones. I'm like, look, I'm going to do this because I said I was going to do it, but I got to go.
Yeah.
No, if you're one of those people, to be fair, I do knock. If you got 30 seconds, I gotta get it.
Yeah.
Actually missed somebody I really didn't want to miss today, and I hated it. There's some really nice young clients that I have that were relatively new, and they know a lot of realtors, and so when they chose me, I was beyond flattered. And no, the sale went great. They got all the money they were hoping for, and then they're like, well, we're just going to go live here for a little bit, and we're going to be saving money. They make great money. There's I don't know what they're saving for. I assume it's for the house, like that forever home. And but no, they called me just a few months ago, and they're like, hey, we just want you to know, y'all did awesome. And when we go look at houses, we're going with you guys. And I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. So that's how you know you did a great job.
Yeah. So if we start from the very beginning, most of you guys are going to know this, but just to make sure we're all on. So when we talk about the power of the database, so whether you are a dentist, whether you are a realtor, you sell books, if you want somebody to come in and buy something with you and then return and tell people about you, if you have a systematic way to stay in touch with that person, and you have a huge opportunity to do additional business and to maintain and keep the relationship, because it's such a powerful thing. So you have to start with, when we talk about a database, you have to start with, some people start, and it's okay, names on a page. And then it goes
Excel sheet. It can be a Word document.
That's right.
It can be anything.
Yeah. And of course, the more people you get, a lot of times then you end up with a customer relationship manager, CRM, that type of thing, and it's electronic, and yet start somewhere every time. Even, matter of fact, so asking for referrals and putting people in the database. One of the ZB Electric, we had the opportunity, you were going, and I interviewed Zach from ZB Electric, and he talked about, like, when he just started becoming an electrician, he said he would drive around town, and if somebody's lights were out at their house, he could tell one of the lights were out. He would stop by and say, hey, I can fix that, fix it. And he, you get their information and ask, were you happy with my service, et cetera. And then he would put them in their database. And 3 years later, he has a huge business, right? So it's such a huge deal. And obviously, if you've got 2,500 people you're delivering pies, it's because you have a way to track them.
Yeah. We had noticed that we had some problems there. So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because your database is a living, breathing thing. That's going into advanced technique. We're going to get there. Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like Alivia was saying, your database is that thing where all of your relationships need to
be a relationship manager.
Absolutely. And most databases are called CRMs, customer relationship managers. We use a certain one for our real estate company. We use a certain one for our roofing company. We use a different one for our insurance company.
Yeah. The importance is have one.
That's right. It doesn't matter what you use. It matters that you use it.
That's right.
So Olivia, which CRM is the best one?
The one that you will use.
It doesn't matter if you have the most expensive database or the most outdated database.
Yes.
If you have the best database on the planet
and you never touch it and never put anybody in it,
it don't make a
That's right. And on the flip side, let's say that you put everybody in it and then you never do anything with it. Mm-hmm. What you really now have is a white pages.
You have a dead pond. A database is a living, breathing thing. When I said advanced techniques, we're going to go ahead and go there.
Well, no, it's like every time you talk to somebody, there should be a note and an entry. When you run into somebody, when you do, it should.
Kids, birthdays, anniversaries. The more you know about somebody, the more power you have.
Well, and so before we get to the end, I'll share a super simple way to stay in touch with people. Because a lot of times, one of the reasons we don't do a database is because everybody makes it hard. Mm-hmm. I pride myself on if it's not simple, if it's not very easy, I know personally I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So if it takes more than one step, so by the end, I will share with everybody a very simple. This is how you do it, and
this is just how you do it.
So
we just harmonized. I heard that. That is good.
Yeah.
I think that was solid. All right. But yes, like I was saying, that the database is a living, breathing thing. And if you don't, let's just use a pond as an example.
Feed it every day.
Yeah, like a pond. You have a pond, and there's no flowing water into it. There's no bubbles. There's no oxidation. There's nothing that happens there. What happens to that water, Olivia?
It stagnates. It gets all greeny on top.
I mean,
gross.
It does not breed life.
If there was anything in it, it is now dead.
That's right. That's right. A database, just like a pond.
Data bank.
Data bank. Thank you, Gary Keller.
I know. I see. I don't know if I I don't know who actually came up with that, but I like
The analogy we used to use was bold as well. The scummy pond. I think
No.
that's not a bold analogy.
No.
Huh? Where did I hear
We
that?
do talk about that, but that's with the Lillies and something else. But no, you came up with that. I've never heard it exactly.
No, I got it from somebody, man. I did. Don't know which coach I got that from. So I was trying to give you credit. I did my best. But if you're not feeding that database, and that means putting new people in there, updating your people.
You're adding people every day. You should have a goal of how many people am I going to add this week. So you adding people, and you want to look at it. Okay, I'm adding people because we always want it to be growing. And then am I communicating with it? Again, that's where you're putting the notes in when you talk to people. When who do I need to talk to today, this week, this month, etc.
Yeah. And so once we get people in there, what do we have to do, Olivia? We have to communicate with them.
That's right.
We have, guys, as salespeople, as business owners, the one thing I learned, I went to a Grant Cardone 10X seminar thing, and he's not for me. And I learned a few things there.
Right.
There were a few really good takeaways that I got. And one of them was always make a proposal, always make an offer. And he made a lot of offers that week. But in your database, make offers.
Well,
you know what I send out to my database twice a month, Olivia?
Do you know the price of your house? Do you want to know the price of your house? And
Cash offers, pay now, pay later, premium listing services. Do you know the value of your home?
Well, and when you think about whether you're calling your database, you're emailing, and you're going through social media, any of that, you're thinking, is this right now? Am I looking to strengthen the relationship, ask for a referral, or reconnect, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So going on the call, like, what is this call about?
Yeah.
And this is like maybe more the advanced piece, but be proactive, not passive. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is stay in touch with the people in your database. The goal is to touch them at least once a quarter. Mm-hmm. And by touch, I mean have some type of two-way communication. And remember that ADHD thing we said earlier?
I just slipped. Can I dive you down
Go
right
ahead.
in?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of different ways that you want to touch your database. I have my own strategies, but I'm going to ask you what some of these things would look like, okay? All right, guys, you have a database, but it's dead. It is a dead, scummy pond because you haven't done anything with it.
You just got some names in it.
Yeah. And if your database is dead, I'm going to take a strong guess that your business ain't doing so hot.
Well, and so this is the other thing. So sometimes people are like, they feel bad, but I don't have a database. I'm like, open your phone. How many people do you have in your phone?
F-bomb. Let's give you it.
How many people do you have in your phone? And everybody pulls up and they're like 5,000, 500, 88,000, whatever. Okay, that is your database. Mm-hmm. Those people, you've had a two-way communication. Now, you may decide as you're entering them in.
Some of those people I'm not allowed to call.
Yeah, well, absolutely. There are people that I love what Diana Kokoska used to tell us, and I'm sure it came from somewhere else, but it was, who should I talk to in my database? It's like brushing your teeth. The ones that you want to keep.
Yeah.
And so
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I have and I forgot it, but that is a great, like, which ones do you want to touch? The ones you want to keep. You want to keep your teeth? You brush them.
That's right. Well, because there will be, like, every now and then I'll be coaching somebody and they're like, they will get stuck and they're like, well, I'm going to call these people, but then they think about the people that they don't want to call, but they've been conditioned or they think that they're supposed to call everybody. And I don't, that's supposed to. I'm supposed
There's
to.
Some people I take out of my database.
Well, 100%.
Yeah.
So if you have somebody, especially if that's preventing you from talking to the other people, if you come across Bob's name and you're like, Bob, Janet, whoever, right? And you're just like, that Karen, we use Karen. That's a common thing, right? Yeah, you come across Karen and we're like, Karen is not nice. And Karen, I do not enjoy working with Karen.
That's the shit I don't like.
You take Karen and you remove her from your database. That is 1,000% okay. It is your business. Who do you want to work with?
Yeah, that's okay to turn down money.
Well, the thing is, this is the thing. It's not even turning down money. If I don't want to interact with Karen And that dread is keeping me from interacting with the next person. I'm actually losing money. So let's get rid of that obstacle and go to next.
Yeah. All right. Can I go back to my scenario now?
Yeah.
All right. You got a dead, scummy pond because you haven't called your database. You have breathed no life into this database. You have added no new people. How do you get re-engaged to your database?
So, and this is going to be a little bit different for everybody, but this is where, to me, it's that proactive. Reach out to them. And sometimes we get caught up, like, we haven't called them forever. First off, they haven't called us either. They're not thinking that. But if you do feel weird about it, my favorite,
I've got my
start it.
butchers.
Okay. So my favorite to start it would be to just say it. If we feel weird, say it. So if I were to call Harrison,
Say the weird thing. I love those. Yeah. They're mostly too weird for me, but say the weird thing.
Yeah. So if you are, let's say I hadn't talked to you in a long time and I felt weird about it, but I did want to talk to you, I would literally just, hey, Harrison, Alivia Roberts, how are you doing? Look, Harrison, first of all, I think about you every time I pass your road. And I said, I'm going to call you today. And dude, I never do. Yeah. And today I said, you know what? I'm calling you. How are you doing, man?
Yeah. Own it.
Just
own it. People know you're busy if you're actually busy.
But even if you're not, people have lives, and so just own, if you feel weird, call it out.
Yeah.
Now the other cool part, as somebody that as much as I enjoy talking, I remember when I first got in the business of calling people after you've done the business or whatever and feeling weird. Anytime you feel tension, say the weird thing or start identifying. So what's one thing that I started doing is whenever I would close a deal with somebody or I would communicate or I had a friend, I would say, look, Harrison, one of the ways that I grow my business is doing business with people like you. Typically, the people that I like, they know more people. They're like them. Would it be okay with you if 4 times a year I call you and say, just check in and ask you if you know anybody that I should know that I could help?
Yeah.
And then they say yes. Now it doesn't feel weird. And then have fun with it. My favorite example of this. So I had sold a house I became friends with this lady. We have been out of the country together on mission trips, the whole bit. We ride bikes together. She's one of my favorite people. She had already bought her forever house before. She's never going to do business with me. But she was good for 2-3 referrals a year. And literally, I would make it fun. And I would call her and be like, because she always calls me, hey, let's go to this next trip. Let's go to, some weird country or whatever. And I'd be like, dude, what helped me afford that? Who do you know is looking to buy a house that'll pay for that? Now, it became like a joke between us, right? But it usually only gets weird when we get weird about it. But, it was just a joke. But or I would pick on people, family members, when I was talking about real estate. I'd be like, look, if I don't make this thing work, I might have to come live with you. Who do you know?
Right.
And they would, and it's not about them giving somebody right then. It's about staying top of mind awareness. So the whole part of the database is top of mind awareness because whether you think, so let me ask you this, name as, and if you're watching, do this. I'm going to ask him the question. You do this and see how far you get. Name, you have as fast as you can, what are the, if I say name shoe brands, go.
Nike, Adidas.
Okay. So this,
I
now,
don't pay it.
Well,
most of the clothes that I wear are given to me.
Well, yes, but stay with me. Okay. Name, name top, truck brands. Different trucks.
GMC, Ford, Ram, Cybertruck.
Now, this is the core. So and you could keep going, but what you mostly notice is somewhere between our brain can hold, it's not that we don't know all of them, but our brain holds 2 or 3 brands at a time, 2 or 3 realtors at a time, 2 or 3 whatever. Well, to stay in that top 2 to 3, we have to stay in front of that person. We have to stay connected. And so that's what the database, when you do it appropriately, that's what it helps you do. It helps you stay top of mind.
Yeah.
It's the reason why McDonald's, and there's a McDonald's everywhere, and that's the reason they still run ads. Because if they don't stay on top of mind, we'll hear about some new place and and we go there. It's fine to go there too, but we want you to remember us.
You need to be 133 top of mind in every person's head. You at least need to be in the running to get a chance. That's because at that point, when they think about their top 3, that's when the analyticals, They go to Google reviews. They go to Zillow reviews or whatever, Angie's List if you're a contractor.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that people are looking for at that point.
That's right.
So yes, guys, if you didn't pay attention to that, rewind that segment. That will change your life. You need to be top of mind. It's not about, you're not going to be everybody's number one. Right. In fact, I'll tell you, I'm probably not most people's number one, but they call number one and number two and they don't get a phone call back, or they go, oh, well, I'm hanging out with my kids. I'll get back with you when I get back with you. And that's not something they want to hear from their realtor. Right. And then they go, I didn't get the responses I was hoping for. Let me call that guy who sells everybody's house. Yep. And then I'm like, when you want me?
That's right.
Midnight? You good? Yeah, I'll be there.
Well, and the interesting thing too is that staying top of mind, but like you mentioned, not number one. So let's say that you run across somebody and whatever business you're in, and, most people, what do you do? What do you do? And, I'm and let's, for this, because we're talking with you, I'm a realtor. And I might ask, so Harrison, do you have somebody to go to when you have real estate questions? And if he says yes, such and such, I'm going to go, awesome. So when you have real estate questions or you're going to do transactions, that's who you use. Awesome. Okay. So Harrison, sounds like you've got a number one. Could I be your number two?
Yeah. People retire. Bad things happen. Like, or I just want to be number two.
That's right. Yeah. If maybe you're thinking about somebody else is thinking about, and normally you would refer, but you're like, hey, they may not be the best fit. Think about me. So I want to be number one or two that they think about, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what the database, staying in touch with people, is going to allow you to do. There's really fun ways like the pie giveaway.
Mm-hmm. We're about to talk about that.
Yeah. So let's whatever you want to do, and then let's talk about the pie giveaway, how it started, what your return looks like for that, and then we'll keep. Yeah.
So leading into the pie giveaway, what I want to talk about is engaging your database. When you have built a database, and you have, like ours, for instance, so our actual database is at this point like 37 or 38,000 people. Now that is not our past client database.
Well, so, okay. See, I'm going to put something here and I want you guys to think about it.
Yeah.
Everybody, right? You have like, if you think about the database, it's like everybody, right? And something that you want to make sure is that you can divide them up. Mm-hmm. Meaning, and a lot of times people divide them up between past clients. Everybody's a little different about that. I'm more of a, so everybody goes in the database that I would choose to do business with or want to stay in touch. Let's say that I haven't met them yet or whatever. I might have what you would call like a not met. So maybe they visited my website, but we haven't connected, something like that. So I have that group of people. And then I'm going to look and go, okay, this is my core advocates. Mm-hmm. So when I think core advocates.
Say define those people for me.
Yeah. So core advocates, that is in the last 12-ish months, they have any combination of these things, 2 or more, where they have either done a deal with me and referred something else, done 2 deals with me and right. So any combination.
We're looking for referrals, tags on Facebook.
Well, no. This I'm talking strictly things that have led to business. So referrals.
So like I have somebody that if they see anybody needing a realtor, this is probably 15, 20 times a year, they tag me.
Now,
like they are, in my opinion, they are a Harrison flag flyer.
That's right.
I also give to every single one of their charities. Like they call me and they go, hey, we have a kid need. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm writing the check.
So 100%. So like that core advocates, another way to think about them would be like your VIPs. Yeah. These people are your raving fans. They legit, if they heard that somebody else was going to use somebody, like they're going to be the people that be like, you ain't called Harrison, like, are you crazy? Yeah. But some 2 or more, so because those tags, I would almost consider those referrals or whatever. But 2 or more of any combination. So they've bought and referred, or they referred to, or they, because like that, my friend that I was talking about earlier that was good for like 2 or more referrals a year, she never bought with me, but she referred. So she was in my top core advocates.
Absolutely.
Even because of the referrals, right? Yep. Now, with that said, depending on how many people you have in your database, if you have 25 of these, that is knocking it out of the park. Now, once you get to the amount of business you have a a lot more of these. But if you are somebody that's doing 30, 40, 60 deals a year, you probably have 5. Your goal would be how many people, and not just add in randomly to the core advocates, but being intentional so that you're going, okay, I have these 5. How do I grow these? Because those 5, 25, 50, 100, how many of those 2 or plus of some combination in the last 12-ish months, they are going to get extra attention. We're probably talking to them monthly. They are getting, they're probably getting, instead of quarterly invites or something, they may be getting monthly. Now, what you will probably discover is these people are probably people that you're not even having to, you're already doing this. Like you may not even realize it, but it's somebody that it's your buddy. It's just somebody that you're already having coffee with multiple times or whatever. And if you're not, but you have this list of names, it's real easy to go, I know that this month, let's say I have 5 of them, 10 of them, 25 of them, I'm going to make a point either, run by their office and drop them off some coffee or send them this and there's automatic ways to do this, but that you want to know, like, who are my core because this is the cool part. Let's say you have 10 of these and they're good for 2+ pieces of business
Bless
here.
them.
That is 50, what did I, because I said 10, right?
Yeah, two a piece.
Well,
10.
10. So that's 20 transactions.
Deals and average net's probably with the new commission laws, probably around, I'd say, $3,000 to $3,500.
And if you're in a bigger city, it's even, larger. And so, and those people are your raving fans.
Yeah.
They are gonna, so that's the piece. Now you want your core advocates, and then you have and again, some people call these A's, B's, and C's. It doesn't matter. But I call those the core advocates. Then you have what we would consider like your advocates. These people, again, 12-ish months, they have one, they bought a deal with you or they've sent you a referral.
Yeah.
So now you got another subset in your database. So you've got your core, your advocates. Then you have network. Everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe they bought a house with you 3 years ago. They probably will buy with you again, but they haven't sent their referral, right? They haven't done that second one. So the goal is, how do I stay in touch so that network, so every year, so often I'm taking those network and I'm bumping them because of the way we're interacting. They're becoming the advocates, and then they're becoming the core, right?
Yeah. So graduating them up the line, giving them incentives to do such VIP parties, etc., which we're about to talk about events. I love that. So mine is set up a little bit differently.
Yeah, and there's no it's one of those.
Yeah, we just want you to do something.
Do something.
There's no, in my opinion, as long as you're doing something, like, are there optimal ways and non-optimal ways? Right. Absolutely. But if you're doing something, you're doing more than 99% of the other business owners and salespeople. So we're just encouraging you to start making motion. Let's not perfect and then implement. Let's implement them.
Correct. So love that. So let's say that right now you're like, Olivia, I'm one of those people that I don't have one, or maybe I just have it in my phone. No problem.
No.
What you're going to do is you're going to go to Excel or something like that, and you're going to, your first is to put how quickly can I get to 250 people that I already know? They already know me. Preferably they love me, but we have a relationship.
An email or a phone call from you.
And I'm going to put their name, their email, if I had their address and all that, but their name and their email. And then I'm going to start communicating, because with the ratios, if I have 250 people, and we'll talk about the how often we should touch base with them and everything. But if I'm staying in touch with them consistently and I'm having the right conversations, I'm looking for a 10% ratio. Now, you may not get that the first year, depending on if you haven't done anything with the
new statistics are saying that 10% no longer exists.
It does. I had clients that were doing 10 and 17%.
In what year?
No, like
recently?
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But the difference is and this is the difference when the 10% doesn't exist. It's not going to exist the first year.
No. Because you've
got to build it. Yeah. So, because we typically talk about a 36 touch. It could be 36, it could be 72. I'll break that down.
We're at more than 36, but probably 72 for sure.
But it's, I bet you'd be surprised. We'll do the math for you, and I bet you're closer than you think. And so but you're being consistent over the years. So it's usually years 2, you get better. By year 3, you're going to get that 10%, and then you can grow from there. Now, the other difference is let's say, so I'll think of Dawn. She's individual agent. She is down south. You've probably met her. She's freaking awesome. If you haven't met her, you should.
Forshag?
No, different Dawn. Yep, Foreman.
I don't know. Yeah.
So she does around 100 plus a year by herself.
Badass.
And it's all pretty much all database.
Yeah.
And she's the one with 17% return. But the thing is she doesn't have, because this is the other thing.
That's a relationship business.
It's a relationship business.
Yeah.
And this is the interesting thing. She doesn't have, like you mentioned, you have 35,000. We don't have to have that many because a lot of yours, so some of those are not Mets or web leads, et cetera.
Yeah. And I'll go over that in a second.
Yeah. And she, these are people that, like, they get something, like, she's very intentional with her relationships with them, right? And so, but she didn't get that 17% like the first year, right? But she's, it was like, we did the math and she would tell me exactly, but I can't remember 100%, but it's, let's say year 5 and 6. But she was getting a 17% return. So when you talk about like the 10% is no longer there, it's because a lot of times it's the database isn't, or they're considering the whole database. Whenever I talk about this, I want to talk about the Mets. And that's why I'm a big advocate of separating them by tags or different database where you have the not Mets that you're looking to move over here, and then you have the Mets. And everybody has a different word for this. Met just meaning we've had a two-way communication. They knew who I am, and they're on that consistent touch. Then those are the numbers that I'm looking for, because 100%. If I talked about the not Mets, like.
That number's big.
That number's bigger.
Your not Mets are going to be bigger than your Mets.
Be like 50 to 1. Now it's like 100 to 1. So for every 100, you can have a closing out of that. But a lot of that, to me, gets weird because you've met them. Now they should go over here. So it's still like a weird skew. Don't worry about any of that. Yeah. What I want you to do is, if you don't have it, get to 250 people as fast as possible, and then
start building.
Yeah. Reach out to them. Hey, you first check in. Hey, been a long time since we talked. Check in with them. What's happening with them? And then this time of year is a really great, my favorite script. This time of year between now and the end of the year is calling and say, hey, first chat, make sure and then while I've got you on the phone, everybody asks, what do you do? How do you do it? And I was, hey, while I've got you on the phone, Harrison, I'm planning next year. Do you have any real estate plans next year where you're thinking of buying, selling, or investing that I may be able to help you out with?
Yeah.
And he says, oh, I'm not really planning on doing anything next year. No problem. No worries. Great. Now I can put that in. But I've had a real estate conversation with him. That's the difference between earlier when I was talking about proactive versus purposeful. But if he is, yeah, Olivia, we've toyed around with it. I'm not 100% sure, but nope. Awesome. Now I'm going to put a note in the system, and as appropriate, we'll follow up from that.
Yeah. No, and guys, you mentioned asking for referrals and asking for business, and I love your script, and I use a similar script, and it's just mine's a little bit shorter, a little bit more simple. It's just, hey, Olivia, do you have any real estate related goals for 2025 for you and your family?
Yeah.
And it's just very simple. And then I'll always go a layer deeper. If they're like, no, we're here, so we're super comfortable. We're doing some other things. We're not going to be investing in real estate. We don't want to be landlords. We don't want to flip a house. We don't have any, whatever. That's fine. But, hey, you got any friends and family? Right? It doesn't bother me to ask that question, because here's why. When you engage your database with value and offers, and you're giving them things, you've now earned the right to ask.
That's right. 100%. So let's say that I haven't talked to Harrison in 2 years. I'm not going to call him. And
you're an if you call me and ask for business without earning the right.
Right. Now, with that said, if he brings it up, I would absolutely, right? But let's say that I'm talking to him and I'm checking in. Now, I'm going to we talk about, you want implied or explicit permission to stay in touch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking to Harrison and then I might say, hey, Harrison, my plan for 2025 is actually to be really more intentional with the people that I care about.
That's a great script. Yeah.
Are you okay with, I'm going to reach out to you throughout next year, some emails, some texts. It'll be all value. It's not my intent. I'm not going to spam you. You're not going to get 80,000 things.
You can always ask me to take you off the list.
That's
not a big deal.
My intent, though, is to just stay in touch and to be I look at myself as a community resource. If you're looking for, hey, Alivia, like, who should I go to because I've got, I need a flooring guy, I need an air conditioning guy. Like, dude, if you need a babysitter, odds are I know somebody that knows, because a list of people
by spending 40 hours with them during their home search. Right. I don't think they're creepy.
Yeah, and so I consider me your Angie's List, right? So if you would that be okay? And they go, absolutely, I'd love that. And you go, awesome.
Yeah.
And now you have an explicit permission, and then you make sure that what you send them is value, so they want to get it, and so you're all good.
Yeah, and that's why we do. So moving into that, what do you do to offer value to your people so that they stay healthy subscribers to your database?
Yeah.
And for us, we do a lot of events. It was something that was preached to me earlier in my real estate career, and I didn't have the money to do them for the first few years. I also didn't realize that I'm going to get on that. One of my cheapest events that I've ever done in my life, I did it this year. And I was like, I got how many leads for how much money? Mm-hmm. That's better than Google. Seriously, I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So we do, my goal was actually to do one a month. It turns out that's super labor intensive. We're at one a quarter at this point.
That's well, and that's so that
some of them are also very expensive.
That's and so I'm glad you, so if you're getting into it, because when you said one a month, that is it can be doable. People can do it, but you got to almost really grow into that.
You need a full-time party planner for that.
Well, and you got to grow into that. So don't try to go out. If you've never done an event, have a plan to do 2 this upcoming year. And we'll share some ideas about events. We're going to talk about some that cost a lot of money. And then we're going to share some that have 0 to no cost. And I don't even mean having to go get people to sponsor it.
I don't have those events.
But how cool would it have been if you knew this, so that first 2 years you would have done them with
in your real estate career or your sales career, your business career, or whatever that thing is. I'm using real estate, guys.
Everywhere.
Everything we're talking about applies across the board to any business owner. Period.
Dentist.
Dog groomer, a mail courier service. This all
if you want people to keep you top of mind when they need that, this applies.
Yeah.
And so yes, absolutely. So I'm definitely gonna share some cool ones that cost $0 to no dollars.
Yeah.
And big ones, small ones, and et cetera. But so the big thing I would say, this is the other thing, because when you are first starting into this, a lot of times you'll see that people will go, oh, I'm going to do this event. I'm going to do it for the community. Stop it. You will grow into that. But if you're talking about this is the first one, do it for those people in your database. Invite them. Now, they can bring people to it.
Community events are for big companies with big money.
Well, and you do community events where y'all page it on Facebook and invite, but
and if you feed the city,
but grow into that.
Yeah,
but
and it still hurts just to be clear.
At first, keep it with those that are in your database, and you would probably want to do where you would do if you're going to do 2 a year, do 1 for everybody in your database, and do 1 for your top. Your core advocates are your advocates and core advocates. So we'll talk more about that. But I love the idea of being able to do community events. And yet what I see sometimes, especially in the real estate industry, but I think pretty much everywhere, sometimes we forget that the intent of the event is to grow the relationship. We are not party planners. So sometimes people will do this whole thing and they're all excited about it, and they don't get any business from it. And people don't even know that realtor or that business owner threw it. And I'm going, so you did not. Now, if you were doing this because you it was for outside of work and you were doing it because you cared about the whatever the event you're doing, that's 100%. But sometimes we get it crosswise. We think we're doing this to raise awareness about us and our business and to support our people.
It's got to be intentional.
Yes.
Got to be very intentional.
Yes. And so that's why, if your county, your parish is doing a big Easter egg thing and you join in, but nothing about it is about you, you're not even telling your people that you're, inviting, it's just this whole community thing, that you what you wanted to happen didn't happen. So we're going to talk a little about that too.
Yeah. So going back, I did not finish how the our database is set up.
Yeah.
So ours is set up a little bit different. Hers is on tiers of clients. Mine is lead sources. And that goes into
lead sources 100% also.
Well, there's like subcategories.
That's right.
And so we have so here are our lead sources. I'm very open to them. Hope they help you. If you're a realtor, I'll even give you my ROIs. So we have our Zillow leads. We have our Fellow leads. We have our Homes.com leads. We do not subscribe to Realtor. Their customer service is ass.
Now, I would agree.
Cut that. I don't want him suing me. I can't afford him.
That's right. Well, and I will say this. I've
you can put the ass part in there, right?
There are clients that do a good bit of business from Realtor.com. But when I say there are some out of the...
It's not about the leads.
Well, no.
I just won't support them on principle.
But I'm even talking about the leads. Like of the 500 people I've ever coached, I've had 2 that have actually made money off of buying doing their leads. Yeah,
I didn't do well off my lead source with them. My issue was a billing issue that they took 20 G's off my credit card and would not refund it. And they took 20 G's without my consent. And I was hot.
Yeah.
And at that point in my life, 20 G's.
Well, it doesn't matter what point you're 20 G's is a lot of money, period.
It was at that point. It was the amount of money in my checking account.
That's right. Like, how am I going to pay my mortgage or now?
Yeah. And so it's Zillow, Fellow, Homes.com, Google, and Facebook, Instagram. We don't get a lot off of YouTube. That's what we're here for, right?
Well, so this is the other interesting when you think about sources of business. So right now, let's take YouTube. A lot of what Harrison's using the YouTube to do, yes, we are now stepping into, okay, how do we grow to identify more people, right? And yet at the same time, this is helping with the relationship people that you already have. So even in a YouTube, you've got to ask yourself, is this about the relationship with my people that I already have? Is about getting new people, because depending on which one those are is how you're going to approach it. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. And so we track where our lead sources are, and then we move them into hot lead categories. Okay. So basically there's a big pool of non-Mets from all of these sources, and then we move them into hot leads, and then we move them into place leads. And then once they are placed, is like we sent them to one of our agents, they send on a listing appointment, or they went to a buyer appointment, and then past client database.
Yeah. Well, so that's, and Harrison and I've talked about this before, but this is why I feel like you are so underutilizing your database, because see everything you just described with like the non-Mets, y'all have such a major badass, y'all know everybody in the community between you look at your agents and having them in the database and things. If you then did what I'm talking about with your Mets, like nobody else in this town would sell a house. Yeah. Because
Alivia, I just don't like we do so much. Like I agree with you. Yeah. I'm not disagreeing. Time is really our issue.
Yeah. Well, it's because so like yes, but it's not time. See how simplified you made those? Now we just got to simplify the others.
Yeah.
And you're on the way. Like y'all made huge strides. So and obviously
we had to, database was a focus for 2024.
Right.
Because it was the most underutilized part of my business. It's the most it's the most plentiful part of my business and the least healthy part of my business at the same time. So what happens when you pair health with plenty?
Yeah.
Right now, the fattened calf has come, and it's time to eat, baby. And we have eaten.
Well, like when I first started working with you in February, like y'all were not doing. Now you've got 2 emails that are going out every month. Now y'all had already talked about like at the events. So then you have the events, and with events, everybody gets a phone call. Everybody gets so 100%. Y'all have made huge strides, and that's why with and as you continue to do that, and I will say this, so for anybody watching, he just listed out a bunch of lead sources. I cannot stress enough, your first goal is to get 3 to 5 sources of business. Do not go 5 at first. If you only have 1 right now, which is maybe your database or people that you know, don't go to 5 yet.
Yeah,
it'll fall.
I have a 5-person call center and 3 full-time admins and a VA.
And it was year, right? Yeah. So identify 3 to 5. If you're a realtor listening to this, one of those 3 to 5 better be seller specific. Okay. So what I'm talking, and that seller specific, legit, sometimes people.
Can I argue with that?
Well, hold on. Maybe. Let me finish this because I think we may. So when I say 3 to 5, the reason I say that is if you are doing more than that 3 to 5 at first, you're trying to do too many, and so you don't do anything really well. So if you start with a goal of going, okay, what are my sources? And one of them being seller specific, at least one of them being seller specific, what happens is now you say, okay, I'm going to do Google. I'm going to do Zillow. Or maybe you don't have any money yet, so you're going to go, hey, I've got my Mets. That's my...
I'm going to do the phone book.
That's right.
Yeah.
So my Mets is number one, which when he talks about the phone book, we would almost call that like circle price.
There is an agent in our market who they made a living off the phone book.
That's right.
Look, and I'll say his name. I think he'd be okay with me saying it. Austin Little. That man so it was him, and then he employed his mother, and they quite literally, because I don't know how much money they had. I don't know Austin's financial things, but it's just strictly this. I asked him, one day I was like, I hear somebody talking in the background while I was on the phone with him talking about a deal that we were doing. And he's like, yeah, that's my mom. And I was like, are y'all still calling the phone book? He's like, yep. And I was like, this man grew a business on the phone book.
Well, because it's a same, like because we call, so yeah. So like that's the whole part is
started A into Z. Let's go.
So 3 to 5 sources of business. And so let's say that you are, and so, by the way, so let's say you go, okay, social media and even when you say social media, be careful, choose one. So what I mean by that is, and determine. So you might be like, okay, Facebook, and those are people that you already know. So to me, a lot of times, unless you're doing ads or your marketplace ads, you're doing something like that, be really careful because Facebook actually supports your Mets. So you want to go, okay, I'm using Facebook as part of my database system to stay in touch with them.
Social media should be part of your database.
That's right. So now, but then you go, okay, but I also want to do XYZ on Facebook to get new business. Now you have your Facebook as your database, and so that would support your database or your Mets. And then you have your, I want to get Facebook leads, right? Or something to that effect. There's about 100,000 different lead courses out there. And sometimes when people hear me say seller specific, if you're in our industry, you think expired for sale owners. I think they're great. You may be somebody that's like, I don't want to do that. Ariel Smith that I used to coach, she's freaking a rock star. And her seller specific for a really long time, open houses. We worked on how do we do open houses right? Her goal, and she was nailing this, from every open house, she was setting a seller appointment.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Now, in our market, we're just happy if, I tell everybody a good open house in our market is 2 people showing up.
Well, no, that's right. Actually, HGTV says 80. No, if you have 3 to 5 people through your open house, that you've knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
But if you're doing all the steps of open house, so there's a video.
No, agents are so lazy when it comes to open houses. I even am irritated at my own agents.
Well,
I have given them the checklist. I have coached on what they should do.
Yeah.
And
they just show up and
they show up at 1:59 and they try to walk out the door by 3:59.
And so it's an opportunity to talk to people. So with that said, so when I'm saying seller specific, please don't hear me saying it has to be like this. No, but I want you to. So
target
target
imagine successful sellers in your day to day.
What would I have to do?
Yeah.
So because even in your database, one of the things that I'll notice, so a lot of times I'll tell agents send out 2 emails a month.
Mm-hmm.
One of them about the, what's going on in the neighborhood or whatever, something like that. And one of them being a seller specific, which is what you're talking about when you say that you send out hey, do you want to know your home's value?
Mm-hmm.
Are you interested in the renovate now, pay later, all those types of things, right?
Yeah.
So even with your database, sometimes I'll be working with agents and I'm like, okay, well, talk to me about being seller specific with your database. And they aren't. And so when I say that 3 to 5 in seller specific, one of those being seller specific, because it makes your life easier if you have the inventory. It just does.
Yeah.
So you said,
can we talk about my argument?
Uh-huh.
All right. I do not invest in seller leads.
You do.
Not on purpose.
Sell owner. You hire people for sell owner.
Yeah, in our call center.
That's what I'm talking about.
The OSA for sure.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because I don't I have a belief. And I could be wrong, that it's worked out for me. But I do run a slightly buyer heavy business. We're a 40-60 business, 40% listings, 60% buyers. I'm actually okay with that because all buyers eventually do what?
So, well, and
Yeah.
again, and so I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is the thing. A healthy business
Mhm.
is so your first goal, take how many closings you had, and you want to do a percentage, and your first goal is to get to that 40% sellers.
What, is that actually the goal?
Your first, and then the next goal is get it to 50%.
I've never been there. Not even close.
Get it, but that's because you're not doing this. You will. I promise you, in 2 years, you will, because of what you're doing now with your meds. Yeah. With that said,
A lot of it is the issue is my team is very young. And so we do have a very large first-time home buyer presence.
that's right. Well, and that, that's
Now,
yeah.
but I can tell. So I'm in year 9 right now, and I can tell you that I get it. I would say on average, I get 52 phone calls per year that say, "Hey, Harrison, we're ready to sell our house.
That's right.
Come and do whatever it is you want to do, and we want our house on
That's
the
right.
market."
Well,
And so that and that is because of a heady buyer business, and they've done half of my career. Now we're in year 9. Well, what's the average statistic of how often people move? 7 to 9 years ish.
and it's
now I'm
banned in a little bit, but you're going to start seeing
reap
that.
those benefits.
That's right. Well,
Yeah.
and so, but keep in mind, so like whenever, now this is the other thing. So get to 40, get to 50%. Don't beat yourself up because you're in year 3 and you're at 50%.
You're not going to be at 50% in year 3 unless you are an anomaly.
Well, or you only sell 15 houses. If you sell a lot of houses, you're not going to get there. Now,
Yeah,
with that,
I agree.
Or I shouldn't say you're not.
It's not likely.
And it's not even the goal, because this is the other piece is, to be cool, but it's not what we're shooting for. What we're shooting for is, again, it depends on the number of units that you are looking to close to hit your numbers and what you want to do. But you do want to get to 50% as quickly as possible. Now, when I say as quickly as possible, it might be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, because it depends on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But you're going, okay, so you're asking yourself during business planning, what can I do? Do I have a seller specific? Am I asking seller specific with my database in addition to the other things so that I can move the needle, right? Now, you'll have some people that then say, well, I want to do all sellers. This thing, once you get over about 60%, like if you're 60% sellers, 40% buyers, guess what? If you want to run your business that way, it is 100% okay. For a little bit, Jonathan Leach was running his that way because he was so heavy.
Have a hard time in sustainability there, in my opinion. You don't think so?
No, the problem is you are leaving huge amounts of money on the table.
Because that means that you're not getting your leads off of your list.
No, but you're not. You're
not focusing in on good systems.
That's right.
Yeah,
and so you're bleeding money, and you may not realize it. Now, this is the whole thing: is if you're doing that and you're okay with how much money you make, and you don't necessarily want to bring on another somebody to show houses, and you don't want to
at least bring on a referral partner, not somebody on your team, but like, hey, I'm gonna give you all my buyer leads. Like, you focus on.
That's right. You could, but if you're doing it intentionally, hell, keep doing it. Right. My thing is don't.
If you like giving away money, just call me. I will take care of that for you.
Well, but everybody's business is a little bit different, and so you might go, that's not my. So again, as long as you're doing it intentionally, roll with it.
Yeah.
But know that you are leaving money on the table, and you have some opportunity. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's how we have our setup. We have decided just to stay very basic with it, and then we touch those people a lot. So let's add up my touches. All right. So we do 2 database emails a month,
which is 24 touches.
Yeah, and those are offers.
That's
offers and value, and then supposed to be a monthly newsletter. That's not going so hot right now. I have to get back on that train.
Well, and so I actually have a system that I'm going to tell you about off of the site. There's so
you guys don't need to know.
Well, no. Once if you implement it a little bit, I'll share with you one that, because the whole part is the reason it's not implemented. So, or it's not. What do you call it? Systematized. But I have somebody that I want to share with you between what we're doing here and that. It will be very systematized, and then that would take and you're done.
Yeah. And then so that's 36 touches right there. All right. And then we have 4 events per year.
So they should be getting a minimum, right, of 1 call per month.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're at if they get the minimum of 1 call per month, now that's 4 calls a year. Now that is 30, we're 36,
so the end of
42.
So
not at 12.
I'm telling you what we do. I'm not telling you. I'm telling you what my plan is.
Right. No, that's what I am. But because of the
we're
event,
not doing 1 call per month.
I didn't say per month. I said per quarter.
You said per month a few seconds ago.
I don't think so.
You definitely
roll it back. Let's see.
Yeah.
But I did meant 1 call per quarter.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
That's what you do.
All right. So we're doing 4 events per month. per year. You did this to me.
No, you misheard.
Yeah. All right. So 4 events per year,
And
ideally they would get 1 call for an invite and 1 call for a so glad you came. It was great to see you.
They would actually get a lot more touches, but they're also getting the text reminders and the email reminders and the social media reminders, right? So like there's another, at least, just because I've experienced that with you guys a little bit, you're throughout.
We're
you're
probably touching them many more
times. So now, so just that's when I talk about how many.
Let's say we're in between 40 and 60 touches per client per year.
That's right. And then,
so basically they're getting a weekly reminder. Harrison Lilly is your agent. That's Harrison Lilly loves you. Harrison Lilly gives back to the community. Right. Harrison Lilly feeds the community. Harrison Lilly picks up dogs off the side of the street, and Olivia grooms them, and then we find them homes.
Yeah, so that, and so then you have your social media. So like that's what I mean by like keeping it simple. Just do those things. And so yeah, you're doing way more touches than you even thought. Yeah. And when you're first starting out, if you're worried about this, start out with one. Let me send 1 email out a month. Let me call once per quarter. There are 20 working days a month. Now, I get it. Realtors work weekends and nights. Other businesses do as well. But if you go, okay, if there's, I said starting out, let's say if we had 250 people, you take 250, you divide that number by 60. I can't do that math in my head. That's how many people per day would you need to talk? So
250 divided by 60?
250 divided by 60.
That would be 3.2 or
3.2. Like so legit, all you need to do is talk to.
Let's see if my math was right. 60 times.
And again, so to talk about the number, so that there's
bad math.
Okay.
Bad math. That's 180. It's 4.2. 4.2. Hold on, let me see.
So
boom! Look at that. I just made a little mental error, but I had the point right.
Yeah. So if you are,
I'm impressed with myself.
Hey, I can't do with that kind of.
Yeah, that was good.
So if you do, so again, if we say there's 20 working days a month, and there are 3 months in a quarter, if you have 250 people in your database and you called 4 a day of the Monday through Friday, right? You get through everybody in your database. Yeah. Now the thing is, some people really like that. Some doing it like a little bit a day from your database. Jesse, he went on. I was working with him a couple years ago. He's not local. He's an agent. When I stepped out of the old company, I had to quit coaching him. But he's freaking awesome. But he really went to work on his database, and he was struggling with making daily calls. Like just because he's an individual agent, there's so many things going on, and he's like to stop to do that.
I don't know how anybody does that.
Well, so this
sounds like hell.
So this is the cool part because he does events, and what he does is he goes, "This is my event, so I've got to call everybody in my database before that event." So then he just heavy does it for, I don't remember if it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. So now if you take 250 people, divide that by 20 days, that's how many a day?
12.5.
So now he goes, okay.
12 people and a small person.
So instead of having to call the whole quarter, he's just going to call heavy for that month or for whatever. So like what I'm saying is there's a multiple ways to do this, but average.
Break it up.
One. That's right.
Yeah.
Average 1 reach out every quarter by voice. That's it. And then now let me go one other piece. This isn't what Harrison does. Some of your agents do this because we had talked about this, and then we kind of, some of them really did take onto the system. Now, this is not for everybody. These are your advocates, your core advocates, people that you know. Text them once a month. There is a holiday every month. There is a something every month. There is a system that you can use. So it goes out from your phone, but it's quick. Why can't I think of the name of it right now? I tell people about it all the time. I'll put it in the comments of this video. But just
like how
to go quicker.
Point below you.
So they
like
our editor can throw it in there.
Yeah.
And so but basically if you could once a quarter. Again, now I'm not talking about. I don't want you to do this to 36,000. It would be your core advocates, the certain amount of people, and you would text them every month. And the cool part is you don't have to like come up with something new. Matter of fact, I'll link it I'll link it below.
But I think you should like hit it with a
ding ding. But we have it. Will I'll put the link in. But basically, and these are just suggestions. But like January.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Your favorite realtor, Alivia, or your favorite dentist, Olivia, or whatever, right?
Yeah, February. Don't forget about your Valentine.
That's right. Like,
what's in March?
St. Patrick's.
Oh, there you go. April. Don't forget about Harrison's birthday.
Yeah, don't forget about Harrison's birthday.
Magic got bills.
It's my own name. How many every year I forget about April's Fools, right? How what would it be at the end of March? Everybody gets like on the 20th, 29th, whatever, they get a text from you that said, you know, I'm just reminding you, don't fall for anything on the 1st. It's coming up.
I've always wanted to like send out a retirement email on April Fools, but I'm like, no, I think some people will take it seriously.
That's right.
They won't call me.
Are we? I was thinking Misty Hodge years ago. She had sent out this one, and it was awesome. And it was an email, and it said, Misty is expecting. And I rushed to open it, and then blah, blah. It was no.
I wouldn't even open that email. I mean,
it's like have fun with it or whatever.
Yeah.
But so that's what I mean by like the and again, like my favorite line, I did absolutely steal this from Rebecca and Regine and Rebecca Rivers. I actually stole back in the day, they have Ring the Rivers, Ring the Roberts. Like, I don't need to reinvent that. That was awesome.
I don't feel the need to reinvent the wheel.
Do
you know how your department is in my business? Rip off and redevelop.
Rip off and duplicate.
Rip and duplicate. Yeah. The R&D department. We're ripping people off, man. Look, guys, I did not create 98% of what happens in my company.
People have gone before you. Learn from it.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, Ben Kinney. Ooh, I like that. Tom Ferry. Ooh, that was cool. Olivia. Oh, that's neat. Avery. That was
right.
it. Oh, Chuck, thank you so much. And I just put together this thing, and then I was like, okay, I don't like the flow, and I just moved it around a little bit. I made it my own.
That's right.
And so
100%. What works for you?
Yeah. And so it don't feel the need to recreate things that work.
People have gone before you. Yeah. Go figure it out. Make it simple.
Can I get off soapbox?
In 1 second, because you were going to use
my soapbox.
Well, I just lost where I was going about make it simple. So no, go soapbox.
Perfect. You can go with soapbox. All right. You know what the number, like, and I can imagine you as a coach feel the same way, where you have developed something in this business and you have done better than 99%. And this isn't about like she's better than you or I'm better than anybody. Yeah. Like, but you have
studied it. We've like it's
but you have a proven track record of success in selling real estate. And then you'll go talk to somebody who has never sold real estate. In fact, I'll say there was the person is no longer with our company, but you know, we sent out like a Survey Monkey that was anonymous, and I knew who sent it.
They're like, I don't think that works.
Of the way they typed it, I knew exactly who it was, and they were like saying something like it was kind of a review on you, and I told you about it, and they had not. They had sold like 7 houses their whole life, and basically said that you have no idea what you're talking about.
And it was about
and I was like, I was so offended for you, and so that it does like. Guys, put your pride down. Everybody wants to reinvent the wheel and come up with something proprietary, but the goal is to get to mastery as quickly as possible. And once you get to mastery through others' knowledge, you will then be able to make small creatives based on your personality, your business, your workflow, your staff. Because what works for your staff may not work for my staff.
No, and that's 100%. It's okay to make adjustments, but
get to mastery before you start just coming up with crazy ideas.
Yeah. I had, so like when I was coaching Bold Business Objective Life by Design, I legit went, I have been in, did this for 4 years, 2-3 classes at a time from Florida to Oregon, right? Mm-hmm. And I promise you, there was always somebody that told me in every that don't work in my area. And
I hate that word.
Tell me about it.
Hate it.
It's what you're doing. You're giving yourself a reason not to do something.
Yep.
That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. If you're looking at things and that won't work, guess what? It won't, because you're not going to do it. But you're not. What I want. Ask different questions. Go. What would work? How could I use that? What because it's all made up bullshit where people say, like, you talk about a soapbox, I'll get on my soapbox, but yes, where people, I don't like that, everyone working, I'm going, hold on, like, so, and in that particular thing, what we were talking about was like I was showing them to do the buyer consultation, because now it's a requirement that everybody has to sign. Dude, in 2008 and 9, I'm like, at that time, I was the first one in our area to start it. And then we had some other agents that did it as well. And I'm sure did it better. But people...
It's not about being the best.
No. But
it's
people,
about doing it right.
Right. Well, and people, like, I would legit have a conversation. They would come. They met me in the office. We would do the presentation. And for realtors out here, you're going to be like, what? They cut a check to me that day of I can't remember if it was $259 or $299, but they cut a check to me the day they hired me. They cut a check to me, and then this agent was like, "Well, what you do won't work," and they agreed to a certain percentage.
Yeah,
and throughout that, like, they were happy with me. They were excited. I would have people like the thing that I would give them, they would like keep it throughout the whole thing, because I was the first agent that said, hey, these are the things you need to know. How do we make sure that you feel comfortable through the whole thing? These are something, but it was so like, it's very much, if you're looking for reasons that things won't work, they won't work.
The first thing I tell agents whenever we do a group trip every single year, where we take our agents to Tom Ferry or some major conference, because I believe that learning, because a lot of agents will not go out and do learning on their own, so we just do a force-fed session, right? And the first thing I tell them is have an open mind. And what I mean by that is you're going to get in there and you're going to see this name on the screen and they're going to go, they sold an agent with one showing assistant and one admin sold $300 million. So just for reference, THLT sells about 100 to 120 million in real estate a year. We're the number one team in the state, and one person, and then they look at
how many units
they sold like 50 units,
well,
right?
So,
I roll like 50 units. We do that like my top 5 agents average like 60 plus units a year.
Because you're doing somewhere, close to 500 units a year now, 450, 480.
I drank the math. We're going to be 600 to 700 next year. I believe if everything goes according to my plan, of course things could go wrong.
Yeah. Or it's just so with all that said, I do look.
Let me finish.
Sorry, but this is so important. I want to say it. Okay. So whenever you are looking at what somebody's doing, look at it, like you said, with an open mind, but going, okay, if I'm in a smaller area,
how do I tweak this?
How do I tweak it to fit here?
That's where I was going.
Okay. If I'm in, but like I'll take Sue Adler. I'm a huge fan of her. She's in New Jersey, and of course she's in Gary's Top 100, the biggest thing. I was beating her in units, but her sales price is so much higher than ours. Like her volume was like some ridiculous. But at the time we were both around that 130 units. With that said, so could I do everything? And now she's 500 without, like, she's freaking awesome. And could I learn some of the things that she was doing in New Jersey and do it here? 1,000%. So the people that I don't want to work here, you're just so close-minded. Now, would everything that she's doing work here? It's not necessarily that it wouldn't work here, but it may not be advisable financially because
our scale is just different.
It's just scale's different.
We have to do large volume.
Absolutely learn something about what she's doing with her social media, about what she's doing, how she's communicating, the programs that she's putting on, and do that to what would make sense in my area.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so that would, I'm 100% with you. Like, please be really don't say things like
that won't work
in my area, or even like be careful with the that's how I do it. My question would be this:
tell me your results as you tell me that's how you do it.
Now,
because most people who say that, they give me their results, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know why you're advising anybody. You shouldn't be.
No. And so with that said, like, this is how I do it. Okay, you close 5 deals, and if you only wanted to close 5, that's fine. But if you're wanting to close 30, your way is not getting you there. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do it exactly this way. I still want you, so like I know in Bold, we used to teach the script. I'm in a contest. Who do you know that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate? And then they would answer, and then you would say, who do you know that might, that I should know, right? And some people didn't like it. And I'm like, first off, because you're thinking that's the only way to ask. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a great script once a year.
Yeah.
And that you've done other things through that. I said, but It does work. But if you're like, I'm never going to do that, great. But don't stop there. Go, let me keep playing around with ChatGTP. Let me listen to what other people, let me find one that will work. But don't just go, I ain't going to do it. Because you're going to be broke.
But I disagree with your last statement where you say that you have to change that. You don't know what the difference is and why that statement's effective for me and not for other people. Because through my database,
that is effective for everybody.
Yeah, no, but it's
some people just won't.
It's
say
not
it.
blindly effective though.
Yeah.
It's not blindly effective for everybody.
I know it is. I legit will have people that have been to.
Can I pose my argument?
Okay.
And let you answer.
Okay.
You are not Alivia. You are Jane.
Okay.
All right, Jane. Your database sucks. It's dead. You haven't called anybody. You haven't updated it.
And Jane can use that specific only because I've seen it in bold where you'll have legit.
Would you let me finish? Alivia, you're about to go cheesy. All right, you're about to get an empty Yeti can.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
We're gonna duke it out.
But you have a scummy pond, right? Okay. And I am running my system, and we're killing it. All right. Me and you call the same person. Hey, who do you know who's looking to buy somewhere at best in 2024?
Yeah.
You know, what's the difference? I have provided value. I've touched on.
You have the relationship.
I'm chilling. Yeah, right. I have earned the right to make the ask.
That's correct.
The scripts work if you'll do everything that's supposed to go along with it.
Yeah. Well, and so we were talking, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
You're right.
Thank you.
But because what I was referencing was somebody that, they just feel really uncomfortable with that line. They will not, no matter if they've created the relationship, they just won't ask that question. And so my thing is then don't ask that one, but don't stop. Don't tell me you don't like it. Tell me, I don't like it. Let me keep exploring and writing and figuring out the one that I can use that gets me the same results.
Mm-hmm.
Great. But the problem is a lot of people go, I don't like it, and they stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, keep digging. You will find a way.
Why do people a your mission, right?
Right.
Like, hey, I just want you to come on this journey and this mission with me. Like, and then, like, I mean, honestly, it was yesterday. Like, when I made that post on Facebook, I was recruiting help. Like, so if everybody doesn't know, so we own a roofing company, Lilly Roofing, and one of our sales reps posted in the group chat, and he said, "Hey guys, I just picked up this dog." He posted. So it was a sad sight.
Oh gosh, it was matted. Like
it was
hair.
A golden doodle. Golden doodles have long hair, and it was.
Actually, I think she may be straight poodle.
Oh really?
Once I got all that off, doodle. I think it was a straight poodle.
Oh, that's so sad. That's even more sad.
Mm-hmm.
Because the hair shouldn't look like that.
Yeah, because she looks like straight up like Molly. Like yeah. So
But anyway, her hair was long. It was dreaded. It was matted. It was dirty.
Like her whole tail, like it was just one gigantic mat. That as I start, it was it was.
And so he found the dog. He
yeah.
put it in the car, and she was super sweet. And he sent her the message. He goes, "Hey guys, is anybody would anybody be willing to take this dog in?" And so I just conferred with the other owners real quick, and I said, "Hey guys, we're gonna do the right thing here."
Yeah.
I didn't really confer. I just looked for a thumbs up, And I was like, "We're gonna do the right thing here." I was like, "If we can find a new home for this thing, Lilly Roofing is gonna take care of the vet bills and the grooming bill." And so if we owe you any money, let us know.
You might have to replace some clippers.
That's fine. Send the bill. And so the sales rep took the rest of his half day.
Yeah.
Because it was like 1:00. So he went to the vet and got emergency services done. It wasn't that much, like $350.
Yeah.
But we got her up to date on shots so that we know that wherever we took her, that other dogs were safe. And then I posted on Facebook that had happened. Alivia, you did relieve you. So Alivia immediately was like, "Yes, I will absolutely take her in. I got the tools to do this." And
I groom my own dogs, and so that's why he reached out. And he's like, he called me, and he was like, "Look
at the picture.
Look at the picture." And I was like, "Nothing's come through yet. What are you talking about?" And then I see the picture, and he's like, "Can you do that? Because we can't get her in the other places until." And I was like, "Yeah."
But no, she did it. Yeah. And she stepped up to the plate. And then so they brought her over there. We found a home for her, and in fact, she was going to a farm.
Yeah.
It turns out there was somebody that was looking for that dog.
Like they reached out to that guy and was like, "I know you're gonna take her, but can we have her?" And it was very sweet. But she left my house. It was funny. Like she left my house with I had some some of the mat on her one or two of her feet was so bad, like it gave her a little bit of razor burn. She had to get so close to get that mat up. Not too bad, but I had some hot spot spray. So he left with a hot spot spray, a red like hoodie. I was like, she's already red, so I wish I had a different color for her, but it'll fit her so she's not cold, and a collar. So it was cool to see everybody jump in.
Yeah.
And the cool part, because like you were doing a great thing and everybody saw it and engaged. That's part of like telling your story, getting people involved.
Like, we're quite literally getting the community involved in our causes. And one of my, like, I love pets. I love underprivileged children. Like, those are, I have passions and a heart for those things. And people like to see that. They do. Like, I'm not doing it necessarily for likes, but I do want people like me to be around me.
That's right.
Those are the people I want to sell to. The people that I have something where I can go, yo, Joe, what up? And he's like, dude, I saw that thing with the doodle or the poodle or whatever it is. Yeah. And like, now we have a conversation. And now, because I've connected and I've done something in the community, I go, hey, Joe, I hadn't talked to you in a while. I'm so sorry. Like, what are your real estate related goals for 2025,
like,
man?
Well, like, because this is the interesting, like, for me to continue to support this, we got to, make the money, then we can continue to pour back into things. And this is the other thing is people, me, you, everybody, you watching this, there is not a person alive that doesn't like to be the person that knows the person. So, because that makes us feel important, it makes us feel like we're useful. So when we can turn around and know who to refer somebody to. So somebody's talking about house sales, and I could say, "Oh my gosh, you should definitely know Harrison." Or if somebody asks me,
"You did last week? Yeah, send us a listing lead."
Somebody that says, "Who's the lender?" But it doesn't matter. Like, I'm telling somebody today about when I bought my truck. I got a Dodge Ram in Winsboro, and my brother had given me the lady's name. We did everything. It was so fast, so great. I was in and out, signed in like an hour. That's never happened to me before. It was awesome because usually you get there and it's anyways. They did amazing. So guess what? That's who I tell people. So we all love to be able to be the person to refer. So when we go back to talking about your database, make sure that you're helping your people win because they get to be the person that says, oh, you're looking to do that? You really should know my guy Harrison. You should really know my guy Bob. You should know my guy Karen. You should know whoever that is. People want to do that for you.
So I think I'm glad that you're kind of pivoting this conversation to that. It is about time to wrap up. And now we have
Mama's cooking chicken and dumplings right now. So you are so lucky that I'm here. I'm so scared it's going to be.
I was killing it, huh?
Yes.
All right. So we talked about the database. We talked about different methodologies. And by the way, if you guys have any questions about how to optimize your database, Alivia, I will answer your questions. Alivia will actually spend time with you.
Yeah. Well, we can do a consult. Look at all these things. But and there's also, tons of books. There's tons of.
So you need to call Alivia to get those books. No.
There's recordings of how to do this on my YouTube and all this, but the whole thing is do something.
Yeah, absolutely. Get started. Now let's talk about the results from the things that we've talked about so far.
Oh, and then let's do the results. And then I told them that I would share some free to no money cost things that they could do.
Oh, I actually want to hear that too.
And then we'll go from there. So go and then we'll wrap.
All right. And then this is just a very small example, guys. So far, so I'm on day 2 of pie deliveries. Today was kind of nuts. I had 3 appointments plus this. And when you leave, I got to prep for my trip tomorrow, and I got to go run numbers on a renovate now, pay later, 2 renovate now, pay laters, and a price a house. And so
I would like a pie. I haven't got a pie.
I will give you. Have we sold you a house?
No, but I've referred people to you. That should count.
We'll consider it. It'll be under advisement. No, I'll get you a pie. We got plenty. They actually sent us like an extra 100 pies to make up, because there's some the one that I have. It was one where the package was busted, and I'm not going to give it to anybody else. Yeah. So I gave it to myself.
Yeah.
Because this pie, what you do is you take a slice, you heat it up 30 seconds in the microwave. That's all it needs. Then you drop a big heaping scoop of butter pecan ice cream on it, and it is the closest thing to heaven that you will receive on earth.
What so is this the apple pie? Is it
it's pumpkin.
Pumpkin pie. Oh, I'd actually like pumpkin.
I like pumpkin. Pumpkin and sweet potato pie stays the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, results. So I have only at this point delivered 60 something pies so far. And I got 600 left. All right. So I went to a lot. I only went to there was only 15 or 20 houses today, and but the last one I went to, not going to give you guys an address,
Yes,
because they're going to transact soon. But open the door. I had a great experience with them. They've already referred friends and family to me. I think I've gotten 2 actual closed referrals from them already, and these guys, I sold them a house in probably my 2nd or 3rd year in real estate. So 6 years ago, okay? But we've done a good job of databasing. They get a pie every year. They get invited to all our events. They're a really great family, man. They're good people. I love seeing them. And so I made sure I got them on my personal list. I knock on the door. Wife opens up. She absolutely remembers me. I just remembered I am wearing this.
Yeah.
This is Clayton's hat. He didn't give it to me. I stole it. But I delivered in this hat today.
Just call that you just borrowed it for a while.
It's my turkey hat.
Yeah.
And then her husband, he heard me talking. He came to the door. Yo, Harrison, what's up? We sat there and talked, and he's like, dude, we got to get you in contact with our friends. And I was like, I would love that.
Right.
Like, when, what, where? And he goes, look, we have been begging them to use you way before they listed. They have written a contingent contract on their house. They had their house listed. It is not going well. They are not pleased with their current service. We're about to send them a picture of how we're enjoying our pie with our realtor who successfully helped us transact and gave us the right advice to get us into our dream house for the right price.
Right. Yeah.
And who you have kept up with us every single year. We are now a part of your family.
Your friend. You didn't. So what you're telling me is you didn't date and dump them.
No,
because that inadvertently, a lot of realtors, we don't realize, by not having a way to stay in touch with people, we are doing what. I do not know a realtor.
I call it hit it and quit it realtor.
They didn't quit it. And I don't know a realtor who doesn't actually care about the people they work with. But then they get busy, or then they feel, and then they feel weird because they're not sure how to. Because they're like, well, we know you don't want to buy a house. I don't want to bother you. I'm like, but no, you created a relationship.
It's a relationship.
And so, and this is coming from somebody like, look, I don't hang out with people. I'm not a big people. All that. The relationship doesn't have to be one of, like, I'm probably never going to be your buddy and we're going to go to parties together or whatever. I am going to be your consultant. I am going to be the person that, like, I want to be that person that is, like, going to be there for you, right? So that's the difference. And so don't hit it and quit it. Don't date and dump. Stay in touch.
Yeah.
And this will help you stay in touch. Having that database, having that systematic way will help you stay in touch to do it.
Yeah. So like, let's go over the results of that one referral, right? Because they've already referred. They've been referring. They have been referring to this person, but they wanted to use their friend, and they immediately said their realtor is a friend from, I don't know, some organization, whether it be church or school or whatever, right? And they said it is a side hustle for them, and they now know that they likely made the wrong decision. And I said, guys, that happens all the time. A lot of people choose their friends or their family first. I want you to know that as you
that was the bat for you, and I'm not going to win them all, and that's great. And if there's another opportunity, that person will.
I just want to be your number 2, right? Yeah, I don't have to be everybody's number 1. I'd like to be your number 2 sometimes. And so I did the volume on that. I did the math in my head real quick, and I was like, so just so y'all know, my pie event this year, how much do you think it costs? You probably already know. Yeah. 25 G's is what this event costs this year. And it keeps going up every year because we deliver a pie to everyone in our database who has ever been there, that's ever bought and sold a house with us forever. I don't know how much longer we're going to do this.
But that's what you're eventually going to they're going to have to when you're going to have to do
we're going to add tier to the list, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I did the math and I was like, that pays for this event. Like that pays for this event.
And when you look
at
that
person, because it's over $1 million. It's, I think, from what they didn't have the exact addresses for me, but the areas that they talked about,
that we know the price point.
It's a pretty large price point, and I was like, that covers it.
That's right. That's what we're saying.
That is the result of databasing. One of our realtors did not want to do this event. He's a new realtor from another company, did not want to participate. And he immediately posted in the group chat, and he delivered like 20 or 30 pies total. And he went, I got a listing appointment. Like they're going to list with me. Like not an appointment like a maybe, not an appointment like hey, here we're interviewing. No, like, hey, we're going to list our house with you. And I was like, okay, let me do the math real quick.
That's right.
30 pies times $8. I spent the money.
That's right.
$240. You spent $50 in gas.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we spent, Olivia, would you spend $300 to get to list someone's market value house?
Yep. All day.
Every day. So
and we all spend money.
You would force feed $300 into a money machine and pull. If you could get a listing every time you pulled it, guaranteed, right?
That's right.
That's what we're doing. That is the power of database.
Yes, and that's what it's always interesting to me. Realtors, and not just realtors, but every business that I can think of that I've ever worked with, that I've ever coached, I've ever read about, we all spend a crap ton of money on marketing and prospecting and blah, blah, blah.
But we don't want to
ignoring. Well, it's just, but ignoring doing that to our people that we know, start there and then go out, not the other way.
Yeah. Olivia, in your experience, what's cheaper, a Zillow lead or a past client referral?
That's the thing. Past client referral.
Yeah.
All the other lead.
If you would actually
easier to work with, they already trust. Oh my gosh. Yes. So it's, now with that said, if your business right now, because remember I said 3 to 5 sources of business, if you look at your business right now and the 90% of your business comes from your database, I'm going to suggest, I'm not going to suggest, I'm going to tell you, do that, keep doing that. And you have to be getting and adding other people. So make sure you have 1 or 2 other lead sources, because to sustain it and all that, you're going to have to. Because sometimes I'll have somebody I tend to run into people up to where they have a pretty great database. And so they're living in that database and they're not doing anything else. And they don't realize that when a tough time comes or something, it's not good.
Yeah. There is a healthy mix between a database-driven business and a marketing-driven business. You have to do both.
Well, when you look at your sources of business, you want about...
If you want to scale your business, I want to caveat that. If you want to scale your business. Now, if you want to have a local, small, consistent business,
even that, again, now there's a lot of caveats, and this is typically why you hire a coach, because there's lots of things, and then you want to work with a coach to streamline to make it fit you, right? But that's why you want that 3 to 5 sources of business. So if something falls out, you're good, but you always want to be adding. And so a good ratio is somewhere around 50% of your business from your database, 50% of your business from a couple other sources or whatever, but that's a huge piece. And so if your 90% of your business is coming from your database, that's a great thing, unless that puts you at 30 and your goal is to do 60. We want to maximize your database. So we may have some missing opportunities. Let's maximize it and identify the next piece that you're going to bring in and add. So last piece, and then we're going to wrap because I'm getting me some chicken and dumplings. Tomorrow's our Thanksgiving, so I get Thanksgiving tomorrow, but I want my chicken and dumplings tonight. So we have, and as I start saying these, you're going to be like, everybody on here is going to be like, oh my God, and what about this? This is. So when you're first starting your database, so we're Louisiana. Every place in Louisiana has a Mardi Gras parade. But everywhere you are, you may not have a Mardi Gras parade, but you have some type of parade throughout the year.
Uh-huh.
Figure out how you can hold a spot on that parade route. So maybe you know somebody that owns a business on the parade route or whatever, and you're going to let your database know, hey, if you'll let me know, we're going to be here. You're all invited to, so let's say if it was Alivia Roberts, you're all invited to come watch the parade with us. We've got a spot picked out. All you got to bring is your chair and whatever, but we have a spot for you. That's a free freaking event. Now, if you want to step it up a notch, you can offer food, etc. But at the beginning, just having a place for them to come to, that's like that. If you're somebody that runs and you're like, hey, I'm running a 5K or I'm going to walk 5K or whatever, invite your database to do it with you.
Yeah.
Be on your team. That's what I mean by it. Free is fine because what you're doing is you're creating a community. If you do events, they can get as expensive as you want them. They can. And I'm not opposed to spending money because I do think there's a huge return. But don't let the lack of money not do it.
No, get creative. Live in creation. I think that's the one thing that I would say about this whole conversation is that there are so many different ways to do this with money, without money. I choose money because
But you grew into that.
no, I didn't have money
That's
starting
right.
out. Yeah, no, I choose money because I can do bigger things with
That's
money.
right.
And it just
Well, and now
easier.
and now you've had the now you can, right? 100%. It's time or money, right? If you don't have money, use your time or your manpower or whatever, or vice versa. But there's so you can piggyback on other people's events, but this is the ticket. Don't just like, hey, we have a Mardi Gras parade. No. Reach out to your people and say, hey, we've got this area. We're going to be here. And then the cool part is, like, maybe that's your first year. You don't have any money. Then you start selling more and you got some money and you go, hey, everybody that comes here, maybe then you hand out t-shirts with your thing on it. But it's fun about the thing. Now you got all these people that came running around with your shirts later and they think that's super. And everybody likes free stuff. I love free stuff.
Yeah.
Or maybe, you're like, hey, we're providing, we're going to have water and Coke. Maybe you're somebody that likes to, cook out or whatever. And you're like, hey, we're going to do hot dogs and hamburgers, bring your kids. And, if you're drinking, you bring your own alcohol or whatever. What I'm saying is that don't get stuck thinking it has to be, but what is going on, piggyback onto that. The parade one works really well. The running one or any kind of event like that, that works really well. There's a few other, and I was going to talk about 5 or 6, and those are the only 2 that I can think of off the top of my head.
I think that's ideas, right? That's ideas.
But don't let the lack of money stop you from doing an event.
Yeah.
Okay, so like last night, the school, George Welch.
A movie night that you went to?
They did a movie night last night, and it was on a projector outside.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that you're like, hey, we're going to do a movie night for our people. You don't have to rent out the movie theater. You could look, I thought it was super cool. I'm a grown-up. I went for my nephews or whatever, but I would have taken my nephews to this if somebody threw it. So it could be, okay, do I have a sheet and a projector? I can rent a projector. I can buy one for a couple $100. Everybody bring their own sheets, and I do hamburgers and hot dogs, right? Like there's so many different hot dogs. Yeah. And our popcorn and a drink. Like you don't because you're going to watch a movie, but there's so many things that you can do that offer value, that is an event, gives you a reason to call people, talk to people, etc. That doesn't money is not the reason that you're not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get creative. You can piggyback on somebody else's event and go, I'll work the event if you'll let me put my name on it.
That's right.
And let me invite my people.
Invite your people. Yeah. The other piece is, let's say that you are, and I've seen this as well. So let's say that you may not have the money, but you want to do the event. You go to 3 or 4 other agents, and you go, hey, let's get together to do the event. Now, sometimes people go, it gets kind of weird, but you go, this is what you're going to do. We're going to invite all of our people. When they come in, you're going to have somebody at the table, and you're going to go, okay, let me write, and who invited you, or who? Olivia. You're going to get those purple bracelets.
Blue wristband, yellow, whatever.
So now every agent, so purple, if they, I'm going to, let's say Harrison and I did together. We're coming up. We're in the same town. We know a lot of the same people, but he has a yellow wristband. I'm not going to poach. I got a blue. He's not going to, but now, so there's so many different ways to do it. And it makes sense. It's easy. Just don't. And then sometimes it's also, I've had clients that are really successful with doing it. I have one that's the other one. She used to teach yoga. And she's really big into health and fitness of the mind and spirituality and things. And so she used to do one of her events was like a yoga on Saturday mornings at the park. Free. Anybody can come, or, my people can come, but it's so you have, maybe you know how to sew. Offer a sew, like, hey, we're going to do a sew and such once a month or whatever. There's so many things out there.
Cooking class, running club.
That's right. Well, and this is the other thing. So somebody like me, that I'm not a big, party thing, but it would be really cool. What is a class that I might want to teach on that would benefit them or benefit their kids? You touch somebody, you want me to restate that? If you...
I understood what you
somebody's hit, that's a big deal. And so, or maybe you host a Dave Ramsey course that anybody in your database that comes, you cover the cost, or maybe they only have to pay the cost, but you're going to put it on. There's so many ways that you can do this that don't be limited. Oh, that was the last piece, and I'll leave it alone. I thought this was really funny. Again, let's say that you're more of an introvert and you're like, I don't know. There's such a thing as a silent book club. So literally you could say, hey, at 4:00 on Saturdays, anybody that's invited wants to, can come join me at Starbucks and we're going to read books in silent. I know for any extroverts, that sounds dumb. For me, I legit have a friend, that used to be our fun. And this was in my 20s. That's how she and I would get together, her husband's at work, whatever, we'd get together on that weekend and we would read books beside each other. I'm reading my book. We're not even reading the same book. I'm reading my book.
And not say a damn thing.
Not say anything. And then we would go eat or whatever. And we'd come back and we'd read our book. Worked for me. So that's where, so it can fit your personality. It can fit. Yeah. Don't try to make it weird or not feel right for you. But there's so many opportunities. And this is the other cool part is sometimes we go, well, we didn't have a lot of people show up. Remember, we are not event planners. It's not, the event is a process. So it gave me a reason to call. No. It gave me a reason to call 250 people.
Yes.
Then the ones that came, I get to that. And then anybody that said they were going to come, that didn't come, it gives me a reason to call them and go, hey, we missed you. I understand it's no big deal, but I missed you. Hopefully we can catch you the next one. And then the ones that couldn't come or you didn't, same thing, we missed you. So you have all these different ways.
And the social media posts that you make, people immediately are like, oh my God, you do all these things. I'm like, some people, half the people didn't show up to the last one.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
But all the people
that show up,
dude, I bet y'all killed it. That was so awesome what y'all did.
Yeah. Well,
whatever. I'm just top of mind. That's right. The goal. Top of mind.
And I think about
I don't make my money for putting on events. No, that's not how I measure my success.
That's right.
I measure my success by units sold per year.
Yes. Now, if you are doing, this is another one, Santa pictures, rent a Santa, or have your husband, wife, etc. dress up as Santa.
Yep.
Invite everybody to somewhere, your office. I bet your office, a Saturday, you reserve it. Invite them all in on that Saturday for pictures with Santa. They don't have to pay for it, right? You cover that cost, and you have cookies and coloring. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different ways. But if you're somebody well, I don't cater to kids or, families, do a singles night. I'm just, I can talk about this all day because there's so many opportunities.
Yeah. You had 2 and then you went to 15. Yeah. Anyway, all right. All great ideas. And this is our first nighttime episode. Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, it's 7:39 and I'm starting to yawn.
What time did we start this? Because I told Mom, I was like,
we're an hour and 20, hour and 30 in. Oh, we started right after 6. I just don't know when.
Okay. I really intended this to be 30 minutes.
Oh, no. Sorry. I mean, an hour and 20 is my target. Yeah. Anyway, God, thank you so much for tuning in.
Happy Thanksgiving, or if you'll get this after Thanksgiving, hope you had a great one.
That's right. Let's go podcast. We'll see you soon.